Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to hop right into today's topic, Chat GPT for Business.
Wow.
You are listening to Legacy Moments, where we have authentic conversations about life, business, and so much more to transform your mind, body, and soul. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, and I am joined by my co-host and mom, Johnnie Lloyd. Together, we combine my years of psychological training with her years of business and leadership experience to add value to your day. All right. If you are joining us on YouTube, things look a little bit different. We are trying some things different for this new year where we are going to have the ability to stream to two different locations. We tried it today, it didn't work. And so this will be a recording that'll be uploaded. But thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our podcast episode on how ChatGPT can help your business. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my co host, Johnnie Lloyd.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I'm looking forward to how amazing ChatGPT can be in business.
Yes, it's such a powerful tool that can help businesses in many ways. Let's start by explaining briefly what it is and how it works.
Well, ChatGPT is actually artificial intelligence. Keep that in mind, artificial intelligence. And it's a really great and powerful tool that was developed by OpenAI. It is designed to generate a human-like response to a natural way that we speak, we talk, and we input.
That's right. So, for example, if you have a customer who needs help with a product or service, you can use ChatGPT to create a conversational interface that can answer questions and provide additional support.
And that's really cool because that is so helpful and beneficial, right? So how can businesses use Chat GPT to improve what our number one area, customer service?
Yes. And so what they can do is ChatGPT can provide 24/7 customer support without the need for human operators. This means that customers can get what they need at any time of day or night, which can lead to higher customer satisfaction and loyalty. And we will talk about some disadvantages of this a little bit later, but let's keep going.
Yes, and I see the thing about ChatGPT that I love is the 24/7, right? It offers you an opportunity to tap into your customers all the time. And so, how does ChatGPT answer customer questions? I think that's a great area to start in.
So ChatGPT is pre-trained on a vast amount of data, so it has a broad blah, 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 blah. We're probably not going to use scripts.
We're not good with it, but at least it starts in a place, and then we can move forward. Because knowing that it's pre-trained, vast amount of data, but we're not. Okay, go ahead.
Do you think the script is good, or do you not like, or is it? I didn't fully read it.
I read it. It's very methodical and not as conversational as we're normally. So I think the interaction it looks a little mechanical.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that until we started doing it.
Yeah.
Because when I read it, it sounded really good. However, when we're doing it, it seems like, okay, it's your turn. Okay, it's your turn. Okay, it's your turn. It just looks very mechanical. And then it's like, it just didn't look natural.
So the thing that I do like, so this is where we can talk about the fact that we use ChatGPT to help generate a script for today's podcast. I am going to scrap this script, but I think there are points in it that we might use a little bit later that will help us moving forward, because the goal was to have more of that back and forth that was a little bit shorter.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I think it's a great example, Patrice, to talk about how when a person uses artificial intelligence, that you not just read it, because when we read the script through, it has great information in it, right? However, how do you make it personal for you? How do you make it so that it speaks your language? I think this is a great place for us to start because it gives us a great example of how we start off with chat but you add the natural human element to it. You add your voice to it. And I think that's the part that you have to remember to do. I think knowledge is power, information is power, and chat is a tool. I just did training this morning with the Napoleon Hill Institute, and we did it on chat.
And I like the fact that people are using it to enhance their business. So if they need to write a customer letter, they might use Chat GPT to give them some ideas. But I would be very careful to not just use exactly what's given without reviewing it and making sure that it does have that human element.
The key is when we're branding, because we're going to talk about all this, right? When you're branding and you have a brand, when you do something in chat, make sure you go back and you look at it and you literally not just read it, but I would offer the opportunity to say it, because we read this, it seems simple, but when we're speaking it, this is not the way we talk, right? So when you're branding or you have a brand, make sure that you go back to chat and get the information. This is the other thing. I think chat is an excellent research place. Remember that the information that you have in chat was put into a system, and you get a chance to pull it out because it's a tool. It's like almost going from doing a screwdriver that's natural, that you take it, you do it, to having a drill. That's how serious chat is. That's how big a difference it is. However, you still need to know where the screw is, and you need to make sure that it's going in the right direction, because you can reverse it out or put it in. So I think that's where chat is.
And I also like the fact that you can ask Chat GPT to give you its references. So if I do use it for my YouTube videos or something, I can say, where did you get this information? And it'll pull articles, it'll pull different things, just so that you can make sure, if you are doing something where you need to reference your sources, that you are doing that as well. Because knowing where the sources are, to make sure, are these legit sources? Like, are they pulling this? Because they're just scouring the internet and you are the one that has to make sure that this information is accurate. So let's talk about some of the downsides of Chat GPT.
The downside of it is you can think all this information and you can use it as is. And I'm gonna give you two examples. One is, I pulled some information from chat and asked it for the websites, right? Well, because it gave me the references, and the references were real, but I went in one more step and I checked where the website's still active. Some of the websites, two in particular, was no longer in existence. So that's where you go over to another system to confirm. Just don't gather the information and drop it somewhere, because remember, your brand, your name, your credibility is attached to what you put out. So that can be a downside.
And also remembering that with artificial intelligence, that there could be some bias. There could be some things that you need to check to make sure, is this coming from a certain perspective? And I do think that when people are putting out information or they're creating something, making sure that they're removing some of that bias. And that's where I like how we're talking about looking at some of those sources, because I do think that making sure that we're presenting things in an accurate way is incredibly important.
No, I love the way you talked about biases and malicious actors and information. We just have to really be careful. So what was your question? Go ahead.
No, and then also just wanted to talk about privacy, because that's something, so I don't use it professionally within my clinical practice. So I wouldn't enter a client's information to generate something, because we don't know, there isn't privacy around that. I'm in some testing and psychological Facebook groups, and so somebody is going to use AI to create a HIPAA compliant, probably report writing or something. Like, somebody is going to do that. They're going to charge a bunch of money for it. But making sure, I wouldn't use that now. I wouldn't use the regular open AI for that now, because anything Chat GPT is learning and growing. And the more questions you're asking it, I do think that's why there's a free component right now, because the quicker it gets, sometimes it'll ask you, did I get it right? Did I not get it right? Because the model, the AI, is still growing and learning.
Yeah. And the other thing that I'd like to remind us of is, remember this, Chat has the information on history, right? And so if you're looking for current, hear me, current information, go to the website it provides you when it provides the information it has. Go to that website to get the most current data. It may not have 20, matter of fact, in a couple places, I asked it to research some things. It said it didn't have any data for 2022.
Yeah.
It couldn't help me. But Google can, or the website can. So do that. So the other thing I would like to, go ahead, you have something there.
And that's why Google is developing their own AI, because a lot of people are using Chat GPT to ask questions that they used to Google, because it's giving you like one specific answer. And you can ask it to go deeper. You can ask it to say more, which is a little concerning, I think, if children and if people are using this that don't know how to dig a little deeper. Because when you ask it a question, it's spitting out an answer. And once again, you don't know where that answer is coming from and if it truly is accurate.
The thing, and you said one of the fallacies of it, let's call it fallacies, is that I would always tell a person to know what you're looking for before you start entering the chat. Have thought about, what am I looking for? What am I looking to get on the other side? You may not have the complete answer, but kind of know where you want to go. Because when we put in, just like Patrice just mentioned to, if you pull out the first thing that comes out because you're not critically thinking, you haven't thought it through, then you'll take that information and think it's golden. Well, it may not be so gold. It may just be in, right? So what you need to do is do a little bit more research and use it. Now, what I love about ChatGPT is when I Google, it may give me 5 websites to look at or whatever. ChatGPT will take the question, the same question that I put in Google, and it consolidates, it condenses it, it brings it together in such a way that makes it usable sooner, so I don't have to go through the 5 websites, right? However, don't stop. Move a little bit further. So one of the things, going back to privacy, which I think is a critical thing, there's a reason they call it open AI. Open AI, they're telling you, when you put it in, they're telling you it's open. It's open. So make sure for the coaches, for the consultants, for all of those people that are professional, if you're looking for a proposal or getting some help in those areas, don't put the company name in. Put in the generic information and say, I'm looking for a Fortune 500 company, a proposal for this level of company. I'm looking for generic, this is their mindset, this is the things that they're looking at, so that you can get a really good information. However, I would not put in, I'm looking for, I'm not looking for Tesla, and Tesla, I need a proposal, and this is the dollar amount. I wouldn't put that kind of, so the real deep specifics, but get what you need, but don't go in and give all the names, all the data, build me $1 million contract for selling something. I think you have to be careful with those areas.
And what could be the downside of it? I don't think, what could be the downside of that?
Well, there's a couple things. My thing is, let's say you're doing a proposal and the proposal's not due yet. You're doing research on a proposal that's $500,000, right? So you have that out in OpenAI. Let's say you have some information, and as a consultant, I may have some insider's information about a company that I am working with. Thank you for the question. It's not the same as HIPAA, but it's a concern that I signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, things like that. Be careful when you have signed agreements or you're giving secrets or internal information that nobody else or other people would not normally have, and just put it into chat.
Because they are tracking the questions you ask. Because every time I go into Chat GPT, my history is right there. They know everything I've entered, and they know what they have said back. And so I do think that that'll come back later, especially if somebody maybe is a bad actor and maybe uses Chat GPT for a negative reason, that they'll be able to subpoena those records, and they'll be able to say this email address or what this IP address, what questions came into the AI. And because that's why I think you can't use chat, you have to log in to Chat GPT. You can't just ask it generally. And even with Google, because Google tracks things, so any other systems, because people do have to be aware that those things are being tracked. I was supporting somebody recently and I gave my husband a heads up. It's like, hey, just in case you see my search history, like I was researching something for somebody else. Like, hey, like I just need you to know, just in case you see something, because when you go in to type, if I just typed in something about adoption or something, and then I go to press A, Google is going to pop up like, oh, are you looking for more adoption stuff? And so I really think people do just need to be careful and aware. And then also let's talk about how you think it's going to affect jobs.
You know what? This is what I'll say. Stop being fearful. There's still a human element. Remember, chat is, or AI, artificial intelligence overall, is an artificial intelligence, right? However, I would recommend that, okay, how will it affect jobs? Number one, some jobs are going to go away.
And I think some of those jobs were already going away.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just going to use an example. I went into Wally World. If you don't know what that means, I went to Wally World. I went to Wally World the other day to get something, and I really got upset, right? It was my issue. It wasn't their issue. They changed the system. I don't go into Walmart. I don't go into Wally World very often. So what I did, I went in, got on my stuff. Typically, they would come over and they would, if I had 20 of an item, I wouldn't have to scan each item. They would come over and have somebody assist me, and they would put 20 at one, and I'm done. The lady looked at me and she said, "We are not allowed to help you."
Wow.
And I said, "What?" So here I am in this thing. So let me tell you, going back to chat, there are things people want, the one-on-one, they want the human side of it. So don't give up on, let's say you are a ghostwriter and you said, well, they can go into chat and do, what service can you add that chat can't provide? The human element of it. You can walk them through. They put questions into chat, but you are the one that has a mind that you can help them walk through. So it's not just about losing, but it's about shifting some things in our businesses to be more customer service oriented, to be more personable and add some value in a way that chat cannot. Because there's a lot of things you can provide me as information, but I can't provide you revelation. It can't provide you revelation. So yeah, there are going to be some jobs that are impacted. And then look at how you're going to be retooled. What are some options you can provide? All of that. So we're not living in utopia thinking, oh no, it's gonna, everything's gonna be the same. No, it's gonna be different.
But I do think that AI assisted work, so people that use AI to assist their work, that people are going to have a bit of an advantage versus people that say, I don't trust it, I'm not going to do it, because you really are going to have to put in a lot more work. And I think, and we'll be careful to see this, I think some of the pay for jobs that are AI assisted, either they're going to want more work faster, or the pay is going to drop. And so we will see what kind of happens for those types of things. But then it opens an opportunity because we have to monitor AI. So I do think, because there have to be human reviewers. The same way for TikTok, for YouTube, there are people that it is their entire job to just review content, make sure that things are accurate. Those jobs are incredibly hard. So if you ever do one of those jobs, please monitor your own mental health, because you see the worst. You see the dark side of the internet, but I do think that there will still be some opportunities. And so, any of your final thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, please go out to openai.com and play, and listen to the word I said, and play. If you have not, play in chat. And the reason I say that is that sometimes you hear a lot of things and they can cause you to be afraid of something you're not aware of. But when you go out and you look at it for yourself, it allows you to maybe see how this tool can maybe impact your life in a positive way. And then also to know that maybe my kids or grandkids or whoever are using it. So how can I speak to that and give them some of my concerns, or give them leadership or guidance so that they won't be caught into a space that's maybe leading them not to think they have to think anymore. Everything is just handed.
I love that. And anyone that's following my channel, please stay tuned. I will have a conversation, I believe on Tuesday, May 2nd, if that's a Tuesday, whatever that first Tuesday in May, with Cyber Farida, and we are going to be talking about protecting kids online. That is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I think as we look at these things, we have to look at how these technologies impact our children and their mental health. And so we'll be having that conversation. I will also link a video that I did on Chat GPT and mental health or therapy and the role that I think that might have there. Mama, do you have any content on
Yes.
Chat GPT? Nice.
I have some content on ChatGPT. Go out to Johnny Lloyd. It's on YouTube, my YouTube channel. I've also putting some additional stuff out there, but go out there and look. I put an article on LinkedIn about artificial intelligence and how coaches and things like that can use it. I talk about how churches, and I know people think of churches, churches, how can you use it as a business when you have few to know, let's say you're not making the resources, you can use chat to help you on social media. So don't forget to do that and reach out and tap into that. DM me or whatever so that we can maybe have a conversation. You can ask a question and I can provide a response.
I love that. And if you can email me some of those links so that I can add them right in the description. I love people, but people like to just go down and just click those links. And so you said go look and you lost. You probably lost about some people. And so we will make this easier for you by just being able to go to that description. My mom's YouTube is linked in there as well. Next time, so we do this once a month. Next time we will be in person. We tried it. It didn't work and that's okay. So next time we will be in person and, but I do like the faster back and forth. Making sure that we are more prepared, coming with some specific tips, specific questions, and where our back and forth are maybe a few sentences, Mama, instead of because at times we would have whole monologues. And so I think this helps the conversation be more engaging. And I do think that's what I got from when we looked at doing a script for YouTube for a podcast with a host and co-host. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day.